Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice. Simple steps for showing up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. I am grateful to be with you today. What a beautiful day it is. As of the time of this recording, fall is in the air. It is crisp. It is clean. It is awesome. It is so awesome. I love this time of year. It is my favorite time of year. When this releases in November, still my favorite time. I love just the mid-September through December. Mostly mid-September through November. I do love Christmas. I do just love all of the things. Just love them all. I love spring too. Super hot, super cold, not a fan of. But that in between, so good. And living in Utah, we have all 4 seasons. Sometimes that season is like 2 weeks, but at least we still have it. So I'm grateful for it. I have a good one for you today, and I really want you to ponder your world. I want you to ponder your life, your actions, what you do as you do what you do. Not just what you know to do, but what you actually do. A couple weeks ago, it wasn't even a couple weeks ago, it was last week. Man, time is flying. Last week, I'm heading into the gym. And I had this impression, for anybody that has known me for a great length of time or for any measure of time, you probably know that I get up early. I've been a big fan of getting up around 4:30 to 4:45 for a long time, probably the better part of a decade. And it's not that I like getting up early. I actually despise getting up early. I like the efficiency when nobody else is awake. I like that I can be at the gym. I can have my water, gym, journal, reading, praying, studying all done before most of the world is awake. My phone does not go off generally, and I have 0 interruptions. The kids are asleep, family's asleep, the world's asleep. I can get so much done in that about 3-hour window. It's amazing. So that is why I loved getting up at 4:45. And I said loved, as in past tense. I was on my way to the gym, and I've been trying to think of what I can do with my morning routine. I've had the same morning routine for, like I said, the better part of a decade, if not longer. There was a time in my life I used to wake up at 3:30. Ugh, that was not fun. That's when I was in college. Because I had to get my workout done before my 7 a.m. class. My 7 a.m. class was 45 minutes away, so I had to get up early enough. I have my reasons, you guys. So, we've got this baby coming. About, hopefully, 8 weeks. Hopefully she stays in long enough. Keeping her in there. And I knew that once she got here, I would have to change my morning. I'm being a little bit proactive, right? Going to bed earlier is not feasible with our family. I take first shift. I go to bed much later than I normally do. I'm normally trying to be in bed by 9:30. When we have newborns, I'm typically in bed closer to 10, 11, 12 range because I have the first shift. Getting up at 4:30 does not jive well with that for me. Getting 4 hours of sleep, 4.5 hours of sleep does not do well for my psyche. I am not efficient. I end up getting sick. I have for the last 2 kids. So I preemptively knew this. What can you do? I can't go to bed earlier, so I must wake up later. And in waking up later, everything must shift. Instead of getting home from the gym at 7, I would get home from the gym closer to 9:30. And I'm grateful that I have a work environment that I'm able to do that. There's actually offices at my gym that if I needed to take calls, I could just go into the office and take one there. Yay for private gyms. And my initial thought was, I can't do that. Can't do that. I've been up since 4:30 for a decade. I can't change that. I got to figure something else out. And as I was going through that workout, I had the thought, what got me here will not get me there. What got me here will not get me there. My morning routine has served me well for the better part of a decade, if not more, as I have said now 3 times. What got me to this point with my morning routine will not get me to the next level. You need to change the morning routine. That's a big one for me. Again, if you know me for any measure of time, you know that my morning routine is fairly sacred. So now I have flipped it on its head. With that being said, I now wake up at 6. It is not easy for me to do. I lay in bed, I wake up naturally at 4:30, still, without an alarm clock, because I've done it for so long. And I'm trying to shift my circadian rhythm. That way, for when our little girl gets here, I am sleeping until 6. And then we'll get up and help get my boys ready for school and get them off to school and then go to the gym. All these things so my wife can be taking care of our daughter, whom at the time will be a newborn. What I want you to consider in your life is what has served you tremendously and got you to this point that you probably hold sacred. And how can you change it? How can you adapt it? How can you mold it to get to where you're trying to go? Because what got you here is not what will get you there. Sometimes those things that we wonder are helping us are actually the things that are hindering us. It is so common in our world to hold sacred certain things because that's how it's always worked. When I was in the lab space as an executive, I hated the answer. If I said, "Why do you do that?" and a technician said, "Because that's how we always have done it," I despised that answer. And I got that answer all the time. "Why are you doing it that way?" "Because that's how we've always done it," or "Because that's how I was trained." Cool. Have you thought outside the box? No. How about you think outside the box and give me another answer? Find the reason why you're doing it this way. Question the reason. If it's working and it's efficient and you've topped the efficiency chart of it, cool. Tell me why you're doing it because of X, Y, and Z. But if you can't tell me that, it's probably not serving you as best as it could. The same goes for your morning routine, your nighttime routine, your food routine. It doesn't matter how you eat, your diet. It doesn't matter. Question the things in your life that have tremendously served you. And is there a way to make it better for a new season? Or just simply make it different for a new season. Sometimes you need to laterally chunk. Not chunk up and chunk down, but laterally chunk. It's not a pay raise or a downgrade. It's just to the side. It's just different. That way you have a new ladder to go on. So I'm shifting my morning routine. I'm giving my body, hopefully, 8 weeks at the time of, it's been about a week since I've done this. So hopefully 9 weeks from when I started of adaptation for my circadian rhythm. I will be waking up at 6. That way, if I go to bed at midnight, I still get about 6 hours, which is what I was getting before I shifted any of this stuff. I really want you to question the things that you habitually do in your world. I want you to focus in on them and ask the question of, why do I do this? Is there a better way? Or is there just a different way that I have not yet considered? By way of 4:30 to 6, I get an hour and a half less things done, which means I have an hour and a half into my working day that I am doing the things that I was doing in the morning before the working day. Is that a bad thing? No. Does it mean I have to be a little bit more reactive sometimes? Yes. Does that mean sometimes I need to be responding while I'm at the gym? Yeah. Is my gym workout as efficient every day? Not always. On the flip side, I have significantly more sleep. Because I had significantly more sleep, I have not required really a nap. I'm normally taking a nap. About 1 to 2 o'clock range, I'm probably taking a 20 or 30-minute nap. Well, there are offsets a little bit of things. When I come out of a nap, it takes me a second to get back into the groove. So am I actually losing an hour and a half, or am I gaining my afternoon? That poses a different question, right? Am I more efficient, more effective during the day because I'm more cognizant because I have more sleep? Am I less sore because I have more sleep? Is my physiological hygiene purely better because now I'm getting closer to 9 hours of sleep, 8.5 to 9 hours of sleep, as opposed to 6? Possibly. I feel better with more sleep. I had never really given myself 8.5 to 9 hours to sleep. I always thought, well, I just don't get that much sleep and I just need a nap. Who knew? Need a little bit more. It's nothing that I'd ever questioned, or it's something I had not yet questioned until last week. Amazing, right? And if you told me 2 weeks ago that I should probably get closer to 9 hours of sleep, I would have laughed at you. I would have said, I'm going to oversleep at that point, and then I'll just be extra tired from oversleeping. Because that was previous experience when I was younger. Now that I've a little bit older and a little bit more things, and I actually work out a lot harder, I need more rest. Amazing, right? Physiological responses, more rest. But what I'm really just harping in on is question what you're doing. Question your habits, your rituals, the things that you're doing that you feel you must do. Maybe you should flip it on its head and see how that happens. See what comes out of that change up. Does your world shift? Does your world change? What happens? Because you don't actually know until you do it. And yeah, it can be scary to change up what you're doing because what you're doing is safe. It is comfortable. It is familiar. This is your sign to get uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and not safe. You need to strain the system. You need to work the system. You need to build the system. If you are always operating at a stagnant level, even if it's a very high level, but stagnant, stagnation is death. I don't care if you're operating way above everybody else that you know. If you are operating at a stagnant level, you're dying. You have more you can grow. You have more you can do. It just shows your capacity. If you're already operating at a high level and then that's stagnant for you, it just shows what you're really capable of. And aren't you curious what you're actually capable of? Aren't you inquisitive of what your true maximum actually is? Because I'm fairly certain you are. Otherwise, you would not be listening to this podcast. I am in the pursuit of personal excellence. Keyword pursuit. I'll never actually hit it. I'll never actually hit my maximum. I will always be pursuing my ultimate self, my ultimate best. That way, when I reach the heavenly gates, I can say I gave it my all. And I can see what my potential could have been, and we're mirrors. That's my aim. That's my goal. That is what I'm shooting for, as I'm sure you are too. So, one way to do that and to get there is to continually adapt, continually question, continually work until your last breath. And I leave this with you guys. Have this conversation with your friends, your family. Find me on socials, Mr. Brad Draper. Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.